Hi guys, it's Shanna Montana here, and I did want to give you guys a content and trigger warning over the next 3 episodes of the podcast. We will be speaking about Black maternal health in America, and we know that for some people, that can be a traumatic event, a stressful event, and just an event that you are not comfortable hearing or talking about. So I wanted to just let you guys know ahead of time that for the next 3 episodes, this will be the material that we are diving into. So if you can get something from it, great, but if you are not able to listen to it, just skip these next 3 episodes and we'll catch you after that. So, without further ado, we now head into our intro of the To Be Single or Not to Be podcast.
You are listening to the podcast To Be Single or Not to Be by Shanna Montana, a podcast where we talk about the single life, dating, and relationships so you can make a decision at the end of each episode and decide to be single or not to be. That is the final question.
So, today's topic is Black maternal health in America, part 2, single mom by choice. And I want to talk about this topic because it's a very interesting one that I was super unaware of until a friend of mine introduced it to me. And it led me to be intrigued enough to know that I had to bring it to the show so listeners could learn about it, understand it, and know that it is an option for them as well if that is what they so desire. So, in speaking about this, I have 2 amazing guests that we have on the show today, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So, Kirsten, she's been on the show once or twice, or maybe 3 times before. She's been on the show a couple times.
Hello.
But we are glad to have her back. So, tell the people who you are.
Kirsten Watkins out of Atlanta. I feel like I've known Shayna forever, fresh out the womb, but I'm glad to be back with you guys tonight for this very important conversation that is very near and dear to my heart. So hope you enjoy.
Awesome. And Rachel, tell the people who you are.
Hi, I'm Rachel Nix. Born and raised Oakland, reside in New York. I got 800 jobs, so we'll get there. But I would think most importantly at this point, I'm a Black mother of 2 adorable boys, 4 and 1. And as a result of my desire and fear to protect them, I founded my nonprofit Birth Queen to combat the Black maternal health crisis. So I'm also a doula, lactation counselor, fitness trainer, and actress. So I figured, let me use all my 8 million jobs to protect Black queens, which is why I named my nonprofit Birth Queens, because it's imperative that we as Black women reconnect to our abundance and our joy, which we've been disconnected from very intentionally by design.
Yes, I love it. So many hats,
Yes.
so awesome hats. It's like, yes, tap into all of these resources at the end of the show. We'll be sure we share with the people exactly where they can find you because I know they will need it. So something I like to do before we get into the topic, because this is a relationship podcast and people always, they have creative ways of answering this question. So, Kirsten, I'm gonna start with you and ask, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the best it has ever been, how would you rate your love life today?
Girl, child. Um, I'll be fully transparent with saying that I am happily unattached.
Mhm.
I am dating here and there and
Mhm.
everywhere, safely and enjoying it. So I would say, am I ready for a relationship right now? No. Do I enjoy the moments that I do spend engaging with others? Yes.
So that would put you about a
3.
3. Yeah, I like.
Yeah, I'd give it a 3.
Yes, I love the answer. And Rachel, what about you?
I am at a 5 with myself,
I love it.
Yes.
and I'm in transition with others.
Yes, I love it. Because I said
Yes.
people get creative with that question. That's why I wanted to ask it. I hear all kinds of stuff, but I love it all. All right, so we're gonna get right to it, ladies. So I want to ask, and you all explain to the listeners, what does SMBC stand for, and how were you introduced to this idea, or what is the story behind it?
So being a single or becoming the journey to become a single mother by choice was something that I was super resistant of because obviously growing up, like we have the fairy tale of the husband, the wife, whether it's college sweetheart, whatever, we fall in love, we're going to get married, we're going to, buy the house, start the family.
Mhm.
And then when you look at a certain period of your life, whether that is financially, hey, like I can afford this now, I'm ready. Or with your relationships, like I'm not in a relationship where, I feel like we could go the distance or that I want to even, take that major next step with someone, or your biological clock. Like, hey, I know that it's time. I always said that I was a person who I knew that I was going to desire motherhood over partnership, if that made sense.
Yep.
So I was never a person that felt like I needed to wait until I had there is no perfect man, by the way, but that I had the man in place. And then, okay, now I'm ready. Um, so I think there's intentionality behind it because, we obviously know plenty of single mothers in the world in our day-to-day lives. And a lot of them did not intend to be like they don't have the BC.
Yeah.
There's single mothers in those relationships that they went into thought they were going to be great and everlasting. But I think that women sometimes, and I'm probably veering off into a lot of different places, but I release the stigma of not being able to conceive, birth, and raise a healthy, beautiful Black child because I'm not partnered.
Right.
And so for me, I think that this is a much needed conversation because there are women who are nervous or have some trepidation about how they want to move forward in their motherhood or parenthood journey because they don't have an adequate partner. And I think family planning looks a bunch of different ways at this point in life. And I honestly say like people should do what works best for them. So I think the biggest thing for me when I look at SMBCs is the intentionality,
Mhm.
and there is community outside of having a man there to um, raise and foster this child.
Right.
Villages are real. So um, I probably veered off, but that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Not veer off at all. And villages are absolutely real. And that leads me to ask you, Rachel, in your organization, have you seen, is this more of a trend where you are seeing possibly women move in this direction, or, the people that you come in contact with the Black maternal health being in such a different way where you have some people who may deal with infertility. You have some people who may just choose to say, I want to go this different route. What's been your experience with that through your Birth Queen organization?
Well, there are a couple of reasons that I just felt blessed that you reached out, but one is close to my heart. A very close friend of mine really always, well, let's be real. There's so many unpartnered, fantastic Black women who at many points wanted to also be a mother. And then I feel were forced to choose not to be a mother because the right partner didn't present himself.
Mhm.
And I have a very strong and incredibly talented Black friend who chose to be a mom by choice on her own, and have learned so much super recently about this topic.
Mhm.
So with my organization, of course, we know that there's Black women die at 3 to 5 times the rate in childbirth. Like our breastfeeding rates are lower, our babies aren't surviving at the rates they need to. But then we also have infertility. So I want to include that. But then what I learned was if you then make this choice to have a baby by yourself, which my girlfriend educated me about, is that Black sperm is not as readily available. And
Exactly.
more expensive, so that many couples, and I'm also close with I have a close girlfriend and her wife that want to have a baby, so they're in the LGBTQ community or queer community, and it's like, yo, how are they going to have a baby, and the money and all of that. So you're not even thinking, so what if you have a partner but it's not a male, then what do you do? So most of these families they have to choose white sperm. So then that's like a whole nother,
umbrella of things.
Yeah.
a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of things. So it was deep. And, she's a journalist. So I feel she's going to get to her point to really wanting to share that. But luckily, she feels safe enough to share that with me. And I said, this is serious, right? This is something we need to dive deep into because clearly babies are being made
Clearly.
by our men.
Yeah.
It, it's not that I'm being careful, but I'm trying to be intentional. But it's something that we need to talk about because both are close to me in a number of ways. I've got family members suffering from infertility because of the Black male partner, and I've got an amazing Black female having a baby on her own by choice, but had to choose white sperm because she wasn't cool with the options for Black, and educated me that it's like way more expensive.
So that's
And
I had no clue. Yeah, go ahead, Kirsten. This is
okay. I was going to say, so including, because that is so key. Obviously, and where do I start?
So, I know it's a lot. We need more than 45 minutes.
We really, really do. So I will be fully transparent with my process. Okay. So Rachel, we've just met this evening. So this is story time. I was someone who was not necessarily, I was very indifferent about having kids because I was the oldest. Like I have a lot of siblings. And it was only until my sister had her children and I just could see how they melted in my life that I wanted to move forward with that. You may have, like, the word of the day is like an entanglement or whatever, you have these relationships, but none of them are prospering to a place, that are, safe enough that you would feel like, okay, I'm ready to make this step and move forward.
Right.
I had an entanglement. I got pregnant. I dealt with cervical insufficiency and PPROM and lost my son at 20 weeks in December of 2020. And I remember saying, I never want to have a child again. I couldn't fathom what that looked like, felt like. And I am very grateful for family. I'm grateful for friends. I'm grateful for tribe and community because I feel like that has brought me back to center at such a pivotal time. So here I am now, and that relationship was a complete, shit show, just to say it nicely, which really made me apprehensive as I started to desire to walk through this process again. And so the question therein comes, well, you know what? I'm comfortable with doing it alone. I know that this is my charge in life. I have an angel baby. I love him dearly, but I desire to mother in the physical realm. I know that I'm affirmed in my motherhood in this moment. My child is in a different place. But how do I make this possible? So when you start entering the world and the realm of what, first of all, the stigma of donations and the sperm bank, and everyone knows the infamous Kenya Moore, Phaedra Reed on Real Housewives.
Yeah.
That is just one thing. It's just such a stigmatized process in general, and then tailor that to the Black community, and it's equally.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's equally, like, it's like, I won't even say equally. It is like to the 10th degree. We have something to say about everything. So I was initially very nervous about even entering the sperm bank process. But girl, when I started looking for Black men, it could be, Fairfax, it can be California Cryobank, Zytex. There are like 500 donors. 8 of them might be Black. 2 of them might be ugly. 2 of them might have sickle cell, these genetic, traits that you just want to be really, really careful with. depending on what your genetic testing results look like. And then the ones who are Black, because the pickings are so slim, the inventory is low. And you are right, because it costs so much more
God.
money. So, one, I would say affordability. You yourself may be able to afford to say, if I can conceive a child and I can birth a child, that I may be able to now then say, I can raise this child.
Mm-hmm.
But if you suffer, and I almost hate to say suffer, because it really is so personal to those of us who have like real issues with infertility and, anything that's related to the reproductive process. If you are challenged with infertility, now you're looking at, well, can I do IUI, which is, less than IVF? And what does that mean? And what does that look like? And now, do I want to go through the traditional donor route because I don't have very many Black, options with Black men? Do I want to find a known donor
Mm-hmm.
who now I have to set some guidelines? We may have some contractual obligations and, well, there's definitely going to be a contract involved. Do I want to co-parent? Do I, like you said, with the LGBTQ plus community, one of my girlfriends, her and her wife recently got married, and like for us, we're grateful that our job does offer fertility insurance. And so that allows us to have options. But there are so many people that have to consider so many other things versus just finding the sperm that I like based on the man that I like, based on the genetic, disposition that his, genes have, based on what can I afford. Like there are so many different things that just make it challenging. And I know, Rachel, you were going there and you kind of chilled, but I'm going to say it.
Okay.
Because there are so many Black men out here in the atmosphere who are, and a lot of them are great dads, don't get me wrong, but who are, yes, readily sharing their DNA each and every place they go. Yeah, they lay.
Laying seeds.
Out here like future.
It becomes frustrating when you see those who are making decisions with their lives and with their DNA, who one have too many kids that they really can't spend adequate time, attention, and provide resources for. Or, for me, even on the flip side, I am pro-choice, so I don't judge anyone who decides to terminate pregnancy for medical reasons or otherwise. But, those who keep having kids and cannot financially provide, those types of stories become frustrating, because for me, it's just like, I just want one.
Yeah.
So, I know that, and I had a conversation with a friend recently, and, I said, do you want more kids? And his answer was no. And I said, well, that's okay. I don't know that a relationship between you and I will continue to grow, but I'm going to have another baby. And that's just really between me and God. So,
What was his response?
Okay, that's good to know.
And,
but you know what? I didn't need, that was honest. It was transparent. It was short. I didn't need, because there was nothing about my mind, my line of thought, my anything that was really just concerned about what his reaction was going to be.
Right.
Like at this point, I'm very comfortable with saying, I'm playing eeny, meeny, miny, mo with the options that I have.
And
I want to go.
That's important for us to talk about, because and I want to go where I want to go, and it's so many things, but on this call, they don't see us, but I'm a light-skinned, skinny girl with curly hair. Okay. So there's that. And I'm sitting with you, talking to you, and we're different, but we are sisters. And I need us to make sure that we come together and love and support and uplift one another. That's really important to me.
Right.
Really.
Absolutely.
And I don't feel safe.
Take your time.
Please do.
This is such a safe space.
The light-skinned curly hair girls have problems too, you know? It's and I love my chocolate sisters and I want the best for all of it. But looks ain't everything, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And as a community, we have to really understand that before we got here, they were trying to rip us apart.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
all by design.
Yeah.
And we aren't breeders. They bred us. And
Mhm.
some of us do struggle with infertility, and you're not broken. And some of us, and all of us, deserve the dream.
Yeah.
But because we have to deal with being Black every day, it breaks down us as an individual and our partnership.
Mm-hmm.
So during COVID, I
Well,
remember
you about to make me. Ooh.
looking at my husband and going, you know what? This shit is crazy. Like, it's hard to wake up and be Black every day. And so we have to come home to our Black partner. Not everybody's with a Black partner. I've only, let's keep it 100. I ain't never had no pink bean. I don't know. So
I don't want none.
they don't hit on me. I think they know. They're like, she could. I'm like, yeah. Never had no pink bean. But anyways, so just to add some levity, because I'm like, life is hard enough. So, but yeah, it hit me. I was like, they did intentionally break us apart. So let me break this down for you. When I went to Ghana, I was told that when they raped our women in holding before shipping us here, they knew, because we were in holding for up to 3 months, if one of us were pregnant, because we didn't have a period. That baby, who looked like me, was called an informant. They made that child tell on us. They were ripping us apart and pitting us against one another. People, women and boys and girls that look like me were a product of rape to break us as a people. And so it's really important for us to understand that this is all by fucking design. Yes. And we cannot buy into it or play into it. We have to lean in and on one another. And so when you talk about the Black family, we are everything. The love that Black people have, like when we say, y'all lucky we don't want revenge, right? That shit is
real.
Okay. If I break down to y'all about breastfeeding, okay, how they ripped our babies from our chest, our babies may have died. They call us dirty after raping us. Please explain that shit to me. Yeah. Okay. And then if I'm dirty, but I'm a breastfeed your baby and your man gonna rape me, I don't understand where the dirt lies. Yeah. I feed you, I cook for you, I clean for you. It doesn't get more intimate. Yeah. Again, all by design to make us think we're less than. So what I say all that to say, we are not breeders, we were bred. If you struggle with infertility, you are not broken as a Black woman. Absolutely. Black men are also infertile. Yeah. It's not just Black women or women just across the board. We're talking about Black people, but so that's really important too, because that's a huge hang up for the male ego. And that needs to be dealt with. So if a couple is dealing with infertility, please make sure both partners get checked.
Absolutely.
I think we started somewhere and then I went gone.
But that's okay, because I love where this conversation is flowing to. Because I am in the space of approaching my SMBC journey, I have seen more Black women Black men, excuse me, that it's very damaging to the ego. It's the very antithesis of what the stereotype is. Right. And then for that Black family to come and be one, because the end goal is the child. Right. The mother is more likely to go and get tested whether that's the HSG or do I have fibroids or my fallopian tubes open? She's willing to take her body through the ringer. But there are Black men who they're like, okay, everything's fine with her. Let's check you. And for them, that's a no-go.
Yeah.
And all they
Why?
need to
Why
do
is that?
is to do what they need to do in that specimen for it to be tested. But it's the ego shot that some Black men will say, let's just adopt. Let's just use the surrogate. Let's just do whatever, because they sometimes don't want to have that realization hit them, because that's to them, that's attached to their manhood.
Yeah.
And I know we're kind of getting off a little bit.
No. This is staying on topic because it's talking about the things we need to. But I want to understand, the ego, of course, you said plays a role. But why do you all think it is not talked about? Because I never hear anybody talk about male infertility unless I'm watching The Handmaid's Tale. So
no, it is such a very real thing. It's such a taboo because what, and I am in such agreement with Rachel when we talk about it's by design, the systemic iniquities that we experience just in this country, period, and how we came to be here in the history of our people. And I'm not speaking about women in general or men in general. I'm Black. I commune with Black folks. I care about that.
yeah.
But for the narrative that is placed out there that Black men are, making kids here, there, left, and right. Yeah, you do have some of that, but there are a lot of, I know great Black fathers and great Black fathers who are married to Black women and they are raising their families. And I also do know Black men who probably would never come out and say, publicly. I've had some that have shared along their journeys while I'm on mine, because it's such a personal space and ego is so attached to it.
Right.
But Black men, there are Black men who are infertile.
Right.
And whether they,
to be honest, it wasn't until I embarked in this kind of birth worker journey that he looked up and said, oh, damn. Of my group of 5 boys, only 2 of us had kids.
And the other 3, did they get tested?
And guess what? They all had more than one woman.
Did they get tested?
No. And never talked about it.
Yep. And so I think there's a stigma there.
I think they had trouble, but he dealt with it because he, God rest his soul, was just amazing human. But he went, dang, wait a minute. This one, that one never had kids. That's a lot. Out of 5 Black men, and trust and believe they was having sex. And that was, I think that's why he was like, oh, we didn't all had a lot of sex.
Yeah.
And nobody had no kids. Like something ain't right? Oh, I didn't think about that. I'm like, yeah. And it wasn't until, I gotta be careful, which was that one of the friends shared later in life, like we tried and it didn't work. And then I shared with Daddy, and Daddy was like, he didn't share with me. So it's also that. What is that?
It's pride and ego.
Y'all need not be kicking it. No 5 Black men need to be kicking it and not talking about the fact that you're trying to have a baby and somebody can't have a baby.
And the fact that anytime you say infertility, they immediately think the woman.
The woman.
Nobody ever thinks the man.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And so
stress is everything. When we talk, fibroids is like a whole nother thing, but
I also think that's a conversation that I do want to bring up here, because I was going there are different levels of infertility. It's not just that you cannot conceive. You do have individuals who are prone to, in my case, was premature labor, cervical insufficiency, fibroids. You're dealing with the stress. Let's just be honest, the stress of who we are and how we show up in this world every day and all that we take on. I am very present in the fact that I tell people I do not want to be considered strong, because that is not a badge of honor.
Yes, we talk about that. We need to talk. Y'all gonna have me sounding Southern.
Shayna, you're gonna have to let us just go, honey.
No, it's fine. I told you don't take you to the clock. This is a great conversation, and what you just mentioned about
strong.
Not wanting to just be
tired of that shit.
Yeah, it's not okay. Because we
Oh,
also think that I had a friend who was telling me how, when she first, before she had kids, thinking like, okay, I'm going to have this child. I'm going to be the career woman. I'm going to have the extracurriculars. I'm going to do all these things. I'll put my superwoman cape on. And then
I
the
don't
kid
want it.
came and it was like, I don't want this. I want to be present to raise my children. I don't want to just
Mhm.
see my child for an hour a day right before they go to bed. So
Take all this shit off, move around.
yeah, I may have to step back from corporate America. I may have to work part. I may have to do whatever it takes so that I am not exhausted by the things of the world and those little people who
No,
need.
we wake up tired. We're Black. So let's
Yeah,
start there. We already wake up
Girl.
the damn deficit. So that's the thing. Like what I need our Black queens to be very clear about, and our kings if they show up,
yeah,
and our community if they choose to show up. Because I've also had issues where, if I'm really real, I'm 37 years old, and it wasn't until June my family loves me,
mm-hmm.
but there was no space for me to not be okay, for me to be stressed, for
Yeah,
me to be tired. And that's where, as I grew up that way. And so everyone just expected, because I took AP and honors classes, because I was skinny, because I played sports, because I did extracurriculars, because I did theater, because I, always had a boyfriend, because I did all the things. And I just learned to always be okay. So
yeah,
I was like, always okay.
yeah.
And then I was like, I'm not always
I'm
okay.
not okay. Yeah,
You're speaking my language,
yeah,
girl.
I'm
And
not okay.
so when I tell you, when Miss USA jumped and we lost
Oh
Chelsea,
my God.
I have to tell
Jesus.
you guys, I've never been suicidal. Thank God, I've never dealt with like tangible depression. But we
And I
do.
will say, with your butt, but if you have, that is okay. And there are resources for
No,
that. Yeah.
correct. No, because, and I'll go there because I've been on a group chat where women are like, that shit ain't real and all that.
Ooh,
My point is, I have it, but it's also even though I haven't, it's still very dangerous to not feel safe enough to tell your family or your friends that you're tired, you're stressed, you're sad, you're fragile. I am
All
strong.
of those things.
It's
yeah,
a paradox. Yes, we are strong. Clearly, we were able to get whipped, raped, and all this other shit. But nobody should have to endure that. Of course, that's when my kid was.
continuously.
Yes.
So we have
I
proved.
will say,
Yes.
when I lost Cross, um, it put me in a different position of, oh, he's so cute. Hi, honey.
Say hi.
Hi. It put me in a position that I had never been in before.
Right.
Um, in a multitude of ways. I never experienced being pregnant. I had never experienced being pregnant during a pandemic. I had never experienced being pregnant with someone who I knew for 11 years, thought was my friend before anything else, and they just walked completely out the door. And I also had not experienced being on the receiving end of all the goodness and grace and the love that I had extended to the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a very uncomfortable position to be in, because as the oldest of, when you calculate everybody and add all these kids together between mom, biological father, dad, whose stepdad but really raised you, and then stepmom, and all of this, there are 9 of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was used to being the goer, the doer, the fixer,
Mhm.
I'm the big sister.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then it gets to the point to where, like, you are just in a, you know,
Hey.
girl, yeah,
You tired, girl. You tired. You're
yeah,
tired.
it is a haze.
Yeah.
And I dealt with postpartum depression, and
Okay.
I dealt with so many things. I think I was sedated for like the first 5 to 6 weeks of coming home, that my little brother, who was 19, moved in with me to make sure that I was okay. I think for the statement and the projection of strong Black women, I don't want to be strong. I don't want to be resilient. I don't want to have to make it through. Or, when people ask you how you're doing, it's just like, what the fuck? I don't have an answer for this. Like, I'm here. And I get what it means for women to curl up in that bed and be done.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just something where you talk about loving on each other, no matter where we're from, no matter how we're raised, no matter what has happened in the stratosphere. Like, I just met you tonight, Rachel. I am not my sister's keeper. I am my sister.
Right.
Because we have to cover each other in areas and in ways that, like, it doesn't require noise, it doesn't require words, it doesn't require sound.
Mhm.
Like, how we show up in the world matters to each other.
Right.
When you can't have your back, I got it,
Yeah.
and so ideally, when we talk about just the thought of single mothers by choice, this is not my fucking choice. I wanted to make.
Yeah.
I
Right.
I have loved, and I have had relationships that I have fought for. I
Mhm.
have had relationships that I was in that weren't healthy. Um, and so ideally, when I look, I jokingly say, like, everybody got a favorite nigga.
Yeah.
My sister says this, and I just kind of adopted it, and it's a little ratchet, but whatever. And so
Mhm.
when I think about that, and
But they not
honestly,
favored across the board, girl. They favored in a category.
So
they
that,
favorite in a category. I got like four. And everybody has their own place. I got one that's my favorite dancing partner. I know at the end of the day, and this was not even a man who I was pregnant by. This sounds horrible. I'm telling all my business. But that would pick up the phone and just be like, I need to lock eyes on you because I know something's not good.
yeah.
Mm.
Or one that I know at the end of the day is going to wrap me up in everything that I need and brings me back to focus. An ex that I was with for 14 years, that he was mad as hell that I was pregnant by somebody else. But when I was up on bed rest with a subchorionic hematoma, called every day to make sure he prayed with me. So I feel like, and I feel like I'm off topic and I'm sipping,
You
but
are not.
No, yeah.
um,
You keep
Because what
going.
you're saying is, and what's important is that we all of us have pain and areas for growth. And so what I don't want anybody to walk away from is being like, fuck Black men, because that's not it.
absolutely not.
There's not enough of them to go around. So we know that for
Statistically, the numbers are off.
they could be sleep on a couch and get shot to death.
Ugh.
But then in New York City, an Asian girl can get stabbed and call the popo, but they can't get in the fucking apartment for 90 minutes and she dies. That's all. That's really interesting to me. So
Yeah.
you just shoot Black men while
God
they're
bless
sleeping,
Bottom
but you can't
Drum.
save the Chinese girl in her apartment.
Oh, the woes, the first world problem.
You know what I'm saying? Like it don't make no sense. So that's what I'm saying. Like I say that to say this shit is rigged. And so nobody has to suffer. And
Yeah.
so I want every Black woman to dream, and then you got to deal in reality.
Yeah.
And what I don't want any Black woman to stay on topic is, let me tell you, as a mother, I'm similar. I didn't talk to my dolls because I was like, that shit ain't real. But I dressed them. I
Yes.
swaddled them. And when the water baby came out, I could still smell that weird rubber, but it kind of smells sweet. And I had a Black one, and I would swaddle her perfectly and be at Costco with my friend or my mama, and really because my mama didn't have a Costco card. And people were like, "That's your baby." I was like, don't touch. And it was real to me. Okay. I had the whole my shit was real. I was a mama.
Yeah.
And I also believe, very real talk. I know I'm sarcastic and silly, all that. I just do that because listen, I ain't got time to be crying.
It's a lot to process.
A lot.
It is a lot to process. We
But
are
if you
multifaceted
make
in
the
this
choice to
journey.
be a mama, you're a mama. That's
Yeah.
how I feel.
And can I say something, Rachel?
Yeah, absolutely.
And whether you peed on a stick today and miscarried at 4 weeks, if you carried and got to know whether your child was a boy or a girl and you didn't get to meet them face to face, or if you got to hold your child but didn't get to take them home, you are a mother.
Absolutely.
If you experience miscarriage at home, because this was a very tragic story that I heard and it touched my soul, she was not able to contain everything. And Shayna, I appreciate you for giving this trigger warning at the beginning because this is a very sensitive topic.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of women who just don't know, don't have the tools, don't have the doulas, don't have the knowledge and experience, and they call them flushers.
Explain what.
And if a woman is at home and by themselves, and that is the guilt that women carry with them because they miscarried at home alone, and they went to the bathroom and their child came out.
Hmm.
I miscarried in a public bathroom stall in a mall.
My God.
I was early enough where I couldn't,
But that still matters. See, but not
but
the at
it was
least.
crazy.
Yeah.
It,
Oh.
and that's the thing. And I was in the midst of my trauma. I was like, I'm just so glad I'm a mama, because I don't know if I would have been able to hold my shit together had this happened and I wasn't yet a mom. Because at least I was like, I have Samuel, I've been pregnant, I've had a baby, so at least I have a baby again. But the amount of women, black, white, green, and purple, that were like, me too, me too, me too. I said, oh, wait. And I have a very public job, and I have to be snatched in fucking spandex with my belly out and this, and I literally flushed my baby down the toilet for 3 days, and then put my spandex on and was like, hey, everybody, let's work out.
See, that is the part that I think
That's
we
a
need to
problem.
really get with,
That's a
because
problem.
there is processing that needs to
To
take
have, yeah, but
shape
no
and
space
form.
for that.
There's no space. And I'm glad these conversations are happening, because that is the space that we need to, like, my thing is take up space,
Yeah.
because we need to talk about these things. And we are silently suffering traumas that if you don't give sound and voice to, that really just, they are nightmares
Yeah.
Yeah.
that we have to figure out how to maintain.
Yeah.
And I'm about to get emotional.
No, get emotional, because once you miscarry, your whole body
Your
responds.
changes.
You lose your hair. Some people, depending on how far they've gone, have milk come in. I
Let me
mean,
tell you,
yeah.
I am grateful because Shayna and 5 of my other girlfriends, we are just so locked in with each other. And 4 weeks after I had my son, lost him, they came to my house, and it was really just like, whatever we need to do. And they
Mhm.
took me to a rage room. And I had not yet given sound to
Mhm.
that feeling. And then, they give us the whole little talk about, like, call the emergency, call 911 if something happens, whatever. And the little white girl ran in, and she's like, oh my gosh, she's screaming. They was like, get out, she fine. Like, it was really, you don't have space to process and
Right.
be. And I think what is hard for Black women is that, like you just said, you put on that face and you went back to work. When do we grieve?
Yeah.
When do we grieve our babies? When do we grieve our dreams? When do we grieve the fact that we're doing it alone anyway?
Yeah.
The fact that we are just, like, my desire to experience motherhood in a physical form, because, like you said, at least I'm a mother. The girl that didn't have them two beautiful babies at home but lost her baby and flush, she's still a mom too.
Yeah.
Because what happens is, when I conceive a child, those DNA, that DNA that mixes,
Yeah.
Cross's DNA will forever be a part of my body, my life, my soul. He's ascended in the sky. I speak to him every day. He is my spirit guide. Some days it's, hey, mommy, give mommy strength.
Yeah.
Hey, can you help mommy get through? And other days it is, how can I leverage the legacy of his life and what this little boy means to me
Mhm.
to bless others in the world.
Mhm.
But women don't feel safe enough
Yeah.
a lot of times to have this conversation. And when I was going through, still am, but days are a little bit lighter, um, people would say, you're just so strong.
Mm.
You're just so transparent. You're just so whatever. And I don't want to be anything. I want to be Cross's mom, and I want to heal, and I want to be good, and I want to make it whole to the other side.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for the fact that without thinking, I just chose to be transparent.
Yeah.
because there were so many women. And unfortunately, I had to make a public announcement in a way that I wasn't necessarily ready for because, in love, my dad posted on Facebook to say, please pray for my family and everybody knew I was pregnant. And then my phone just started ringing, ringing, ringing while I was at the hospital. So by the time I came home and collected myself,
Mhm.
I put together something just to post because I just wanted to say, in lieu of calls at this moment, we just kindly ask that you add us in our prayers. And I said we because I didn't want to ear his daddy out, but me, pray for me,
Right, right.
But um, we, it just, there were so many women that were in my inbox, people that I knew intimately, people that I have been college friends with, people who I grew up with, people, the the stories that are untold we carry in our bodies always. And ironically, I and again, y'all, I'm drinking, so excuse me. But I told we have another girlfriend, Shayna and her daughter was born the same day that Cross was. And I just remember being like, oh, in the midst of my stuff, I'm super happy for my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And I sent her a message like 6 weeks ago. And I said, I had a dream about her last night. And she said, oh, that is so sweet. And I said, the dream was, I don't know why the hell I had her, because y'all live in another city and state. But the dream was that I had her and I was rocking her and I fed her and y'all went to like a basketball game or something. And then she kept like hitting my stomach. And I said, for me, that was confirmation that God is going to deliver on the
That's
promises that He
Yeah.
made me.
Yes, that's beautiful.
And so, this single motherhood by choice journey is one that I do not want women to be ashamed of
Not at
right.
all.
because there is such stigma. There is such, um, I really say trepidation because it's scary. You don't know
Yeah.
what you're getting.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a known donor, the relationships change. If, hey, I just wanted you to give me some sperm, really it gets down to the technicalities of it. And then they're like, oh, I want a co parent. And then that's a conversation. Or, I'm like, hey, I was already planning on going to a sperm bank. So if we do it just me and you, I don't want you to feel, obligated to do, but I will appreciate to say that the men I have in my life that have stepped up to volunteer want part.
Mhm.
And then I'm about to blow y'all's mind with some other shit. There is an app for everything.
Yes, please blow these people's mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there is an app that I discovered, and I'm sorry if I'm kind of taking too much
I
of the
know you
floor.
No, you got the mic, child. I might have to go get the rest of my wine bottle though.
Look, I got my little, but there's an app that's called Just a Baby.
not
So for me, I'm like, yeah, the odds don't look forever in my favor at these sperm banks. Let me see what I can do, honey.
I'm about to look
And
it up.
so
Not just the baby.
just a baby child. And how I came to find this app was through a really, really great resource. So I have to give them love and shout them out because they have really like just been a bomb in Gilead,
Look, she
child.
looking it up.
They have 4 stars on the iPhone. Right.
Yes. Yes. So I joined and be honest, like there are certain things that social media is just like extremely like horrible for. But then there's also things that social media is just like so beautiful for. So Instagram and Facebook have been like truly blessings for me as I've been embarking just upon just finding people who have experienced these journeys. So I'm a part of a group called the Mocha SMBCs,
Okay.
and that's Black women, obviously single mother by choice. And there's a podcast, so check them out if you are interested. But there were women that were on there and they were posting about just the baby, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And is this an app? And is this real? So the things that like people don't tell you is like how limited the dating pool, or look at me dating pool because it feels like a dating website, but how limited the pool is
Yeah, no, for
in the
sperm.
sperm banks.
No, when
But
my girlfriend
then
told me that, I was blown away, and I said, "Well, damn, that makes sense."
yeah, they sell out so fast. I might not jive with your genetic conditions. I got shit with me too. You know how this one's recessive, this one's recessive. You have two recessives, y'all get together, have a baby, the baby dominant. Like it's a lot to take in.
A
And
lot.
so I found Just a Baby online, and it literally is the craziest shit. It's like Bumble or Hinge or Tinder. It's swipe left, swipe right. Yeah. But so it's not limited to sperm. And that's why I say that family planning comes in a lot of different ways, because there's no group to say, hey, I'm seeking this. Everyone's just a hodgepodge in the mix. So
Mm.
there are women who have issues, true issues with fertility. And well, not true. I don't want to say it like that because that sounds bad. So there are women who are looking for eggs for
Mhm.
IVF. There are men who are giving sperm for IVF, IUI, or just artificial insemination. The good old natural way, girl, I found out PI. I was like, what is PI? And it's partial
Penis
insemination. And
insemination.
yeah,
Okay.
and I was like, you gotta dance for them and shit and get them ready, and then they go in, and and I'm like, I'm not interested in that. But
Right.
then, then you also have surrogates on there who are looking for families, and families are looking for surrogates. So everybody is looking for a hodgepodge of anything. And there are Black men, honey.
On there.
And so,
I tell you,
at that point,
one of the most exciting parts is, isn't this app free?
the app is free. You will have men on there who are interested in being paid. Even if you pay those men, that is still a great thing because it cuts out the middleman of actually having to go to the sperm bank and pay the fee.
Right.
But then you have some people who are just like, yo, I have 3 kids of my own, but I was a gift baby, is what they call them. So I'm willing to pay that forward, and I would like to help someone else get that gift.
Wow.
So is it, let me ask you this, because
Mhm,
I have a student. She's not Black, but she's been a surrogate. It was one time and then two and then three times. She's incredible.
Mhm.
And
mhm.
she's a student of mine. We like were sort of, imaginary friends, and then we actually got to meet, and I wanted to learn more. And she has 2 children of her own and then was a surrogate. Because of that notion of just being able to bless another family.
I'm amazed at the gift. It is a beautiful
It's
gesture.
so beautiful. I think I would totally do it if someone like had an issue and I knew or whatever. But because I'm like annoying. I'm kind of that annoying chick who like loves being pregnant. Um, but yeah, what if there, because I like to be solution oriented, and I feel like Black people have enough problems and enough fucking trauma.
Let's fix
So
it, child.
so
Yeah.
like, how do we fix, so with my nonprofit, I'm like, all right, when Black birth workers support Black birthing people, we have positive outcomes. So I can't really fix racism, but I know how to make sure we stay safe and successful, and we not only survive, but thrive. Because I'm over the Black survival narrative. I'm into the thriving and the
Mhm.
abundance and the joy. But the creative in me and the solution oriented in me is like, okay, can we have a social media campaign or something where we just continue to talk about this and give face to this, because it's not a problem, it's it's a topic, because
Yeah.
if we were white people, it would be a topic or a category.
Yes, girl. It would
Because it's
just be,
not called,
an
it's not a
initiative.
trauma for them. It's like, I chose this. For us, it's like, something's broken. We ain't broken. It's just what it is. I'm choosing to do this. By the way, it's like when you go on vacation as a Black person and all the white people don't understand why you're there. And I'm like, how
Right.
And they
you,
keep looking at you and smiling.
Got a nice
And you
yeah,
restaurant.
just
well, they're
stare
like,
at
what
them
do
and look
you
back.
do? What do you do?
Yeah.
I'm like, work? What do you do? Work?
Like you're a unicorn. I'm
Like
like, Plies, I
flies.
get money, bitch.
Yeah, I buy this
Yeah.
motherfucker. Like what?
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, did you guys see that? That was at TikTok or whatever.
Yes. God want me to ball. That's why I'm
Right,
here.
right. That's why I'm here. So
He
put
Yeah.
said, if you see
hey,
Black women at a restaurant, oh shit, how did it go? He
man,
said, because
don't
they
ask them
get
what's the
money.
occasion. We get money, bitch. That's why what's
Yes. It's Tuesday and I'm hungry.
right. So
That shit was the best ever, because it's real. Like, I mean, because then isn't there the statistic that Black women are like the most educated, the highest earning, like
all the above.
yeah, sorry.
Well, not to mistake that, because I don't want to downplay us. We don't want to be strong, but we are the shit.
We are. Let's keep
Oh, we queen
Yeah.
money.
Yeah. So I definitely do believe in the beauty of your work, because I will tell you too, like, I think it's generational. Like we went from having midwifery and everyone is like, oh my God, you know, you have the midwife and you have this and you have this. I am such a proponent. So, Rachel, I'm looking forward to speaking with you more offline as well in regards to your doula work. I think that that is not something that you should do if you do not feel called to do it. I don't think that it is something that is fly by night. We hear a lot of people that are getting into doula work right now, specifically Black women. But I think that people are really stepping up to the charge because they know, um, and I'll be honest, it is trauma. Like you are doing the most incredible thing, which
Yeah.
is creating life. And the one thing that I tell people is like, you know, in trying to find perspective and trying to find silver lining, like with my son when I lost him, like that is literally the closest to death that you will ever be.
Yeah.
There's someone growing inside of your body, you're sharing DNA with, you're sharing space with.
Yeah.
At one moment, their heart is beating,
Yeah.
and then the other moment, it is not. And so it's something that I'm more comfortable with speaking about now. But like birth work, you are called to.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where as we look now and it's like everyone says that, oh, I'm a doula. I don't think that's faddish. I think that is us waking up to say we are not our we're not our sisters keepers, like we are our sisters.
Yep.
So I just really commend Rachel in the work that she's doing. I'm going to also shout out my doula through thick and thin. She's based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I had an interview with her literally 6 days before I gave birth to Cross. No contract, no money paid. We were supposed to have a consultation the day that he was born, and she showed up without fail and would still to this day not accept a dime. Like Black
Hey.
women, we care about the like this, just the livelihood, the prospering, the blessing that we are to this world and who we are to each other. And so I think that this work is so sacred and it's so important. And so I just want people to realize that like the midwife is for the baby. The
Mhm.
doula is for you.
You. It's for you.
And you know, it's one of those, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm doing a lot.
No, you're not. You're
You're
telling.
not doing a
You are
lot.
telling. To keep continue.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's
it's
just
important that we understand because here's the deal. We know what a doula and a midwife is. A lot of sisters, you say that, they're like, bitch, I ain't trying to have no baby in outside. I ain't trying to have no baby when I know
I don't
man.
want no baby at home in
You
no
are
Yeah,
not.
I
tub in
You
no
know.
are
What's
not
up?
water.
You
lying.
want me to have a baby in my city? I don't want that.
You are
Now,
not
I'm not
lying
saying
because
that's all of us,
I had
but
a
we don't
conversation.
know.
You're absolutely right, Rachel, because I had a conversation with the part one of this series. We were talking about some of these same things. And me, I told him, I said, a lot of things I may be a little ignorant to. That's why I'm literally sitting here listening. I am soaking this all in. But I asked, we had one awesome guest. She is an OB and a doula. So she gets to sit on both sides of the
Oh,
table.
wow. Interesting.
And yeah, and she was so dope. And I was like, do people still use midwives? She's like, yes, they do. Because I'm thinking like
Yes.
in the Victorian old times, I'm thinking like people don't use them.
Girl, not
She's
the
like, yes,
Victorian, not
but
the
she,
white people.
yeah, but she explained it exactly like you did. You know that they care for the birthing process, the baby, the doula. She, exactly how you said it is exactly how
Yeah,
she.
the midwife is for the baby, the doula is for you. Because for me, being pregnant during a pandemic and one, hospital tours are shut down. Two, I don't really know what to expect. I can't go to Lamaze. I can't go to birthing classes. I can't do all of this stuff. That she was willing to come into my house and
Yeah,
let's work on this.
yeah,
Let's work on visualization practices. Let's work on breathing techniques. Let's work on all of these things that I'm sure Rachel will be able to speak more to than me. But
Yeah.
it was one of those things that like let me know that she's like, we have fun. I'm gonna get you home.
yeah.
We gonna twerk this baby out. We gonna have a good time. I
Man,
can't wait to meet him. You know, it felt very and you can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna hire a doula and then okay, tomorrow, like I have a doula. Like it has to be connectivity there.
yeah,
Like you have to feel that connection. And this is someone who I personally don't have a problem because I'm a tear the roof off type of person with advocating for myself, but you have people that are not comfortable.
But that goes to being strong. When you're in the middle of having a motherfucking baby and you're in labor, that is not a time to be advocating for yourself while you're trying to
Yeah.
get through a contraction. So
Yeah.
I need everybody to say, of course, when I said MF full and my baby didn't walk in the room, but
I love
You
the realness of it.
I'm having wine and he's having his beverage. I didn't buy him some Martinellis and he didn't drink the whole thing.
Come
Well,
on, apple juice.
he like, I need a new bottle. Pop the new bottle, mommy.
Yeah,
Wrap it
come
in foil
on,
bottle
apple
and free.
juice.
Pop bottle.
But I need everybody to understand because we do need to address. Yes, baby. You need your Martinellis. I really want one for fridge. Okay, so open the bottom drawer and go get your Martinellis.
He means that. He said it by brand name. I need
Yeah,
some
he
more
needs
Martinellis.
he needs beverage because his mama drink a beverage now and then. So number one, no woman needs to advocate for themselves while giving birth. That shit is crazy.
Yeah.
So we've gone really wrong because mama is not centered in the process anymore. And so as women, period, maternal health sucks in America. And everybody thinks America's great. So they adopt the way.
Thank you for saying this.
They think that whatever we do is great. So they adopt the way in which we do shit. And so now maternal health across the world sucks because everybody's getting interventions and C-sections and people ain't breastfeeding and it's just a hot ass mess. Yeah. So if I want to keep it 100. Now, when I was young, I just was like, I hate OBs. It's all their fault. Well, it's not all their fault because you know what? They got a limited toolbox, just like a doula has her limited toolbox. And just like the nurse has her limited toolbox and the lactation counselor has her limited toolbox and the daddy got his limited toolbox and the mama got her limited toolbox and baby got his limited
Everybody
toolbox.
just trying to put people
Everybody
together.
has their role.
Trying to stack hands.
But what I could tell you is ain't nobody in this world, go get your cup, baby. Ain't nobody in the world gonna be here without a mama. Yeah. So what I need everybody to do is center the mama. Because I don't care. Oh, I need to open it. Like, if we're going to take it there, Trump and all these fools who don't like women. I said, fool, you would not be here without your mama.
Yeah. Let him tell her his mama didn't deliver him. He just, probably
you arrived.
Yeah, he arrived.
Right. You not nobody's second coming, first choice of 58 choice, 166. So Okay. Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna finish my thought. I'm gonna open your beverage. No. So mamas need to be centered, and the birth we're not centered. I'm gonna leave you with this thought, and then I'm gonna go be a mom, and I'm come right back. Okay. Midwives were Black women, African slaves. It was by design that they made midwives into witches and all this other BS because white men realized, damn, I'm making a whole lot of babies by raping Black women and my woman and everybody else's woman. And I could make a lot of money off of delivering babies, but they didn't know what they were doing because they didn't adopt the techniques of midwifery. Right. And so they threw us in wards, disease spread. They didn't wash their hands. Women died in childbirth at the hands of white men who didn't know what they were doing. So please know that when you go into a hospital and you think you need to be in a hospital, that's because a white man knew that he could make money making you think you needed to be there at his hands when he didn't know what he was doing. So
let me tell you something.
Okay.
I came home with a bill for $27,946.52 without my child.
27? Did you say 27,000?
27,000 without my child.
Did you? Gee.
That will make you speechless.
Oh yeah,
because I opened that shit and said, oh, this is above me now.
Yeah. This ain't it.
Because, and I want to speak to something also that Rachel gently touched on. Mm-hmm. I feel, think, speak, and just live that I did everything right.
Yeah.
I went to the Black fertility specialist. I went to the Black reproductive endocrinologist. I had an HSG with a Black X-ray tech. I conceived with a Black man. I had a Black OB, like all of these things. And it was very important to me to have Blackness in full scope so that there was never a question about whether I was not in pain, but she wants drugs or who's listening to me and all of these things. And I still had the outcome that I had.
Right. Yeah.
So while I want women to choose to continue to commune with us in medical spaces and to select those who hear us. I also want to be very cognizant to say that just because you did all the things right
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have the outcome. Or
Yeah.
and like don't beat yourself
Right.
up if you
Yeah.
don't have that
Yeah.
outcome.
Yeah.
The other thing is their education is rigged and not, you have to understand, like, I've spoken to Black midwives who said they had to take a year or two off of midwifery school because the shit is racist. And
Yeah.
we were the ones who did the midwifery. We made it. I said, how they gonna take what we created and make it racist? Can somebody explain that? So you got, when you talk about obstetrics, I have talked to obstetricians that didn't even know what a doula was,
What?
that had a day of breastfeeding education, if that, by a man.
Or OBGYNs who say, I prefer my patients not to have doulas.
Hold on, wait. Now, mind you, on the last episode, Erica, who is the great OB and doula, she said that she's sat in situations where, she's been the doula, she wasn't the OB, and doctors have literally told her, like, you need to take that hat off. Like, you need to pick one side of the coin.
Because they want to have full control of everything that is happening within that room.
Yep.
And so some of the doula speak to them contradicts some of the OB speak.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's why, and I my reproductive endocrinologist and my OB through my process, I have chosen, and Shayna, you and I have talked about this intimately.
Yeah.
I've chosen to move forward with the doctor who actually birthed Cross because she let me know that she saw me.
Yeah.
And you call the plays here. I'm affirming your motherhood. Who you want in this room is for you. What you would like to do. Do you want the epidural? Because it was gone on me.
Yeah.
In that moment that I'm doing everything that I can to advocate and save my child, when I realize that I cannot, that I'm going to have to deliver and push.
Yeah.
That she made things feel good to me when my OB, who was Black and is nice and is all of the things, did not, she was delivering somebody else's baby at another hospital. She didn't come for me.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, she was trying to send me home when my water broke. His foot was at the base of my cervix, and she still said, there's nothing else we could do for you here, but go home and wait for him to come. And I said, I'm not going home to do this in my house. I'm not equipped. My mother is not equipped.
She sent you home with a 20-week-old baby to go.
Listen, she tried to send me home. You know me in the last how long we've been talking. You know that didn't go the way it was.
Yeah.
It was trying to go.
I mean, I hate to do that, but let me tell you, I know my girlfriend was told, there are Black OBs, females, that have told women, you weren't made to have a baby, you can't have a baby. So listen,
all skin folk ain't kinfolk, so we have to be vigilant.
There's that, but it's also like, again, we have to understand that we enter a system that was not made for us.
Exactly.
And was really not made for them to be Black obstetrics, like be in Black.
No, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like,
the last
we got to break it all the way down. So there was this man called Dr. Marion Sims. I need y'all to
girl, yes.
Okay.
Tell us, educate.
Slaves were raped by him and his boys. He cut us open to fine-tune cesarean sections without anesthesia. Let me say that again and again and again.
And a lot of times without consent.
Well, no. This was in the 1860s.
Okay.
So absolutely there was no consent.
Yeah.
So he was fine-tuning the cesarean section.
So what, laying women down that were pregnant to fine-tune like how to do a C-section?
No, he was doing C-sections on slaves.
So that's like practicing.
Yes.
Practicing on us. Yes, ma'am. Practicing on us after we were raped, because the census shows that those babies were mulatto of mixed race. So you rape the slave, she comes a full term, you cut her open without anesthesia. So many of us survived. And so they deduce that Black women do not feel pain the same way in which white women feel pain. And that shit holds true today. So when you say, how is there a Black maternal health crisis? If I go to the doctor and I'm like, my tooth hurt, my pinky toe hurt, my ankle hurt, my pussy hurt, my baby's foot is at the base of my cervix, people like, you good girl, you strong.
Yeah.
No, the fuck I'm not. Like, something's wrong. So why we're dying is in childbirth when you're like, something's not right.
Yes.
They dismiss us. They dismiss us.
My please don't send me home turned very quickly into I am not leaving.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you have to, and that sucks because at that point with me having my doula, it was everything over the phone and my mom was there. So she's just like, whatever you need, I will be. But something else just kicked in for me.
Right.
That's like, no, I'm not going home.
And we was in that group chat like she ain't going home. Like,
yeah, I am not going home.
Not going home.
And so my doctor then comes in 2.5 hours later and says, well, I think we can go ahead and put in your chart that we're going to give you some antibiotics. And I was like, I don't care what you chart. I don't care what the insurance company says. I'm going to deal with that after the fact, just like, anybody else, bill collectors and such. I'm not going home because that is not going to be the memory that I have in my home. On top of the fact that when my water broke, it was 5 a.m. and I just turned from my left side to my right. And literally, I got up, defrosted my car, and drove myself because the ambulance was not going to be there in enough time to the hospital.
Man,
I was 20 weeks to the day. And thank God it wasn't 19.6 because they would have left me waiting in the emergency room. By pure virtue that day I turned 20 weeks, I was able to go straight upstairs to the neonatal unit.
So had you not been 20 weeks, you said you would have had to wait in the emergency.
I would have had to wait. When I pulled up, I threw my car in park in front of the emergency room, and the lady was trying to take temps at the door, and I was holding my crotch.
Yeah.
My water broke. And I was running to the elevator and she said, you need to move your car. And I said, I will deal with that later. Move. And ran to the elevator. So there is a general disposition for Black women who are in pain, who are suffering. And it is literally between life and death for them and their child because hospital policy, because COVID precaution. Literally, my water is breaking in my seat and I'm trying to throw my mask on to be able to run through the emergency room.
Right.
So what I say all of that to say is you are your best advocate if you don't have a doula. Yeah. And another thing that I'm going to say is
trust your instinct.
Trust your instinct.
And fuck a white coat, fuck letters behind somebody's name. Yep. Trust your instincts. Absolutely.
And I'll be honest in saying, Rachel, I dealt with guilt for a very long time because while my doula was great and I love her and I'm going to continue to work with her when I conceive again, but I didn't know what I didn't know with this being my first pregnancy. So when I went that Wednesday at 4 p.m. and I had my anatomy exam for my 20 weeks and they said, hey, everything looks good. Everything feels good. Because his father wasn't there, I took pictures of every scan that came on the screen. Mm-hmm. And I specifically said, because I actually had to tell girls, slow down a little bit, sis. I don't know what you're looking at, and I would like for you to explain this to me. And again, that's another thing, these texts.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody is not on their third baby.
And even if I was, like the last Erica said, when you walk in the hospital and they say, is this your first or is this your...
It don't fucking matter.
It don't matter. Why are you asking me? So you could treat me differently if it's my fifth or my first? Like, why are you asking?
So because I didn't know what I didn't
my friend
know.
They asked that to my friend in the middle of COVID. She had a baby and they were like, are you married? Where's your husband? Bitch, what
the fuck? Put this IV in my arm and get gone. Like, and what they don't realize is that, okay, so I took these pictures, everything was fine. Wednesday, 4 p.m. I was above average for my cervical length.
Mm-hmm.
So between then
That's
and
what I was gonna ask
Friday
you.
morning
Yeah.
at 5 a.m., my shit just let out.
Like almost 12 hours later.
Well, maybe 36 at that point.
Oh, okay. Okay. You did say 4. Okay. I got you.
So
Yeah,
did they
but
ever offer a cercluge where they sew your cervix?
no. And so that is another reason why I have chosen to move forward with a different doctor, because their cerclage was never offered, because at that moment, I never showed any signs or precipice of that there was a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, because at 11 weeks, I had a subchorionic hematoma, and I think I had more ultrasounds than anyone who went full term 40 weeks and had a healthy baby. I had so many ultrasounds. I
Well,
spent,
that's like a whole nother topic that we can
yeah,
get into, because if you're having a healthy pregnancy, they have you come in for all those extra bullshit sonograms because they make money off of them.
yes,
FYI, you only
yes.
need like 13 weeks and 20 weeks, and that's it. We can get into that. That's a whole nother
Let me also get into the fact that if my insurance, like, don't think for a fact that I am only insurance reliant. If I want to pay, bitch, bill me.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I want another ultrasound, give it to me,
Yeah.
because I would rather pay for peace of mind
Yeah.
than anything else.
Yeah.
So whatever my insurance pays for, okay, sis, they'll write you the check. After that, send me the bill,
Yeah.
right.
and I'll deal with that how it, because what you can get money
So what did
back.
you run into? Did you run into people giving you issues about like payment and stuff or something, like they were trying to run you up front? Like what was it?
So I actually do, I can say that I have good insurance, and that I just had to make one payment, and then what would happen was everything on the back end was going to be paid at the end.
Mhm.
So when I was going every whatever for these tests, I didn't have to pay per visit, but they still want to treat you as such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so my feeling and my thought is, I don't give a fuck if I owe you a unicorn at the end of my delivery. Like,
Again.
I asked for this and I want it to be done. So I think I'm just a bold spirit anyway, and very confrontational, and I'm not just like, don't take no for an answer. So there are people that I know would just be like, okay, and lay down for whatever. I was very much so an advocate until I didn't, like I said, I didn't hire my doula until I was 19 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to say, oh no, we're gonna do that ultrasound. Yeah, you're not gonna send me home. I will tear all this shit up in here.
Yeah.
Pregnant and all,
I
belly
got a
and all.
woman that I talked to recently. She's now Canadian, but like her mom's from Ukraine, her dad's like a doctor from Ghana, and she got her hair braided before she had her baby in Canada. When she got into L&D in labor, they're like, where's your partner? Do you have insurance? And she's like, oh shit, I shouldn't have got my hair braided. The fuck? You shouldn't be thinking she normally has her hair pressed and looks mixed and looks like and nice jewelry. But first of all, nobody has, even if you are married, like nobody's wearing rings when you're at full term. Like nobody's going into labor. Like who goes to bed with all that?
Like you
None
are
of
just
that matters, right? You are just
like what?
Yeah, you
and
are
so I'm sharing this because this is the shit that people have to think about. Yeah. And this is a woman who got plenty of resources, and she was treated like shit with her white husband, okay, in Canada. So the shit is real, and we don't need to be burdened with trying to appear as if we can pay a bill, because guess what, guys? There's a lot of pink, white, green, and purple people that have babies all the time and survive that can't pay their damn bill. Right. So enough with the bullshit.
That is a pure capitalistic way. Put it on my credit, bill me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so it's just, again, it's just a reminder when you talk about a Black maternal health crisis, when you talk about stress, like a lot of us aren't even able to deliver because we stall because we're so stressed. And so it's important. Hold on. Yes, baby. Let me say this one thing about the cervix. The cervix doesn't get stressed. And Black women need, I think it's safe to say, are stressed. And so when the cervix doesn't open, and I give the analogy such as this, I'm a New Yorker and I've lived in Cali. So I'm like, all right, Fifth Avenue, Michigan Avenue, Rodeo Drive. A dog ain't going to give birth in the middle of Michigan Avenue, Rodeo Drive, Fifth Avenue, because it's not safe. Yeah. So when you enter a hospital setting with people that aren't listening to you, strapping you to machines, checking on clipboards, but not looking at you in your eye and ever caring how you're doing.
Yeah.
It's a problem. Your body understands you're not safe, let alone your mind knows the statistics of Black women not surviving their birth, our babies not surviving, all of the things. And so your body physically is not opening. So then they start poking and prodding and intervening, Pitocin and all these things. And
oh my God.
It's called a domino effect of interventions. And that's why Black women have a crazy amount of C-sections. Number one is because they're not in there like helping you breathe and shit and birth and all that. They don't care.
And that's the doula role.
Yeah. Right. That's why you need a doula. Everybody needs a doula. I don't care if you pink, rich, real rich and
everybody needs a doula.
And vanilla. You need
and insurance companies should cover doulas without having to express that there is a high risk to the mother. Every birth.
Everybody deserves a doula.
Everybody should have a doula.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna say this. I saw in New York City how privileged white women were treated with me as their doula. And I said, good goddamn. Well, where does that leave the rest of us? Because they weren't treated well. So what
in dire straits.
Right. White women aren't treated well when they're delivering their babies. So you definitely need a doula. You need to know, you need to advocate for yourself. And I understand everybody's like, oh my God, my baby's a pineapple and then a grapefruit and all this stuff BS. It don't matter what stroller you have, what baby bag, Gucci bag and all that bullshit. You need to, no baby need no Gucci, nothing. You need to survive your birth, and so does your baby. You need to breastfeed your baby. And if you don't know how and you never seen it, then get the education, the resources, and the tools. So all that money you wasting on a Gucci bag because they don't care about us, you need to spend on educating and empowering yourself to have a beautiful pregnancy and a birth. And I'm telling you,
but you are absolutely right, because I said nothing against gender reveals. I love them. I said, but if I had to say somebody was going to spend some money on, I had to choose a gender reveal or a doula or getting a lactation specialist or a lot of other things that Erica was saying on the other last show.
Pelvic floor therapist.
That's what it was. She said pelvic floor therapist. I said, what's a pelvic floor therapist? So it was like all these things she was telling me. And I'm like, if we have to choose people, if you want people to contribute to those things, if it may not be affordable, or even if it is, put the money where it really counts. Because someone also said they had a baby shower, but in lieu of giving gifts, that they said, well, it was a fund to go towards all these specialists that we need to make sure that we
whatever works. I was not. I'm not going to say I was anti-gender reveal, but to me, I don't know, for some reason, I thought Cross was going to be a girl. So it just was not a thing for me. But even now, even greater perspective that moving forward in this next pregnancy, I don't care. I want my child to be healthy. But doula work is important. Doula work is sacred.
Yeah.
Doula work is necessary. I have considered it myself. I don't necessarily know that for me, I will actually move through with birth doula work. I think I may move with end of life doula work. But I know that there's something peaceful and sacred that happens in transition. And I want to speak to also, I shared something on Facebook not that long ago, and it was actually it was done a couple of days ago. If you birth a baby, please, please, please watch for the symptoms after you deliver. If it's a headache, if it's blood pressure, if it is whatever, intuition knows, your body knows. Speak. And again, that's where the doula comes in. I was grateful that my doula was not only offering antenatal services, but she was willing to be there through the birth and then also postpartum services. I don't care if it is just to hold your baby so you can go and sleep for 2 hours,
Yeah.
or if you need her to make your Instacart checklist or do your laundry or whatever. Please make sure that you're taking care of yourself, not just pre-baby, but when the baby gets here, because those are things that really set up a healthy and successful afterbirth experience.
Yeah.
And a lot of times saves lives. Um, I think that we need to continue having these conversations because they're so
Absolutely.
important to the overall health and well-being of Black women. Um, we definitely went so many places
But
in
every
this
Well, there's so many
conversation.
things.
so many
But
places.
you
Yeah.
guys,
Oh,
I think it's important just to give facts. I think it's because they're not readily available for women, period, but especially Black women. I feel like Brooke Shields said that she had postpartum depression. We all kind of remember that if you're old enough. And then Tom Hanks shamed her. And now we're at PMADS, which is like postpartum mental anxiety disorder. So there's a
I heard of
spectrum.
that. Okay.
Yeah. So I love now that it's a spectrum essentially. Anywhere from like baby blues to psychosis, where you're like visualizing murdering your baby. I've had multiple friends at psychosis, and they recognize like, oh shit, I keep visualizing killing my baby in the oven or drowning my baby in my pool or throwing them out of the window or putting them in the dryer. And then I can't get rid of that thought. And that's crazy and it's not normal and I don't want to do that. So luckily the friends I had felt safe enough to tell their partner or their friend, like, I keep having these thoughts, and they got help. But there are women that are afraid or guilty. I'll never forget, I shared, because it's real. Like, I was blessed to not fall in the spectrum, but let me tell you, sis, having a baby is a lot.
It's a
It's a
lot.
lot. It's a lot of your mama there. It's a lot of you got a man. It's a lot of you got resources. It's a lot. You got a whole ass human come out your vagina, or or you got your whole shit up, cut out, your organs thrown on the table, your uterus cut, a person thrown out of there, and then they put all back, sew you together, and like, here, your baby, go ahead and have a good life. Like, what? That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're breastfeeding, then you're like, shit, I thought I didn't have my baby. Now I gotta keep my baby alive with my body for still. And what if I don't have enough milk? And then that's a whole.
And if your baby does not latch, or if you don't
Okay, so
continue
we
to
need to talk
produce
about this.
milk.
The percentage of Black women breastfeeding is like at 35%. And that shit is a problem, because I need everyone to understand. My aunt is like 76 years old. And that is when formula companies came out. And they were predatory to Black women. They gave my auntie and all of us shots to dry our milk so we would buy their bullshit milk. Yes, baby.
Where's my suitcase?
Where you going? You
He
leaving?
said, wear his
got somewhere
suitcase
to
like
go.
he's traveling,
He wants to
baby.
go somewhere.
Where you going?
He said, I got somewhere to be.
Right.
Just let him in the frame because he just wants time.
Hey, he's like, I'm gonna come up with something. So it's important that we understand that.
Mom,
Yes, baby.
I want my suitcase because I want my other Spider-Man yo-yo.
Your other Spider-Man yo-yo? I don't think it's in your suitcase.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, when I finish, I don't.
So
I'm
that's okay. Get my man his Spider-Man.
No.
I was gonna go ahead.
No, but it's important that because I think this goes back to wet nursing and all of that, and how the Black female body has never been respected since the inception of this country. But and we need to deal with that, and how we're over sexualized and all of that.
Oh God.
And if you're a victim of sexual abuse, how that experience affects your birth, your pregnancy, your breastfeeding, it's very real, and you have to deal with that stuff. Yeah. But breast is best. That is not to say you won't have some beautifully healthy baby. If, like Malcolm X's mama, I think, was a crackhead. Like, there's brilliant people who had crazy
experiences. Yeah.
I'm not saying that, but let's not get away from breast is best. Like, your breast milk will literally change if your baby got a runny nose to
liquid gold.
It's liquid gold. And don't let anybody deter you from that. And Black people in particular, we need to understand, most of us have an allergy to lactose. That's cow's milk. American, and then let me just also say this, because I know Black women are listening. It is weird that we are the only species that feed our babies non-species specific milk. So that sounds real complicated. You a human being giving them cow's milk. That doesn't make any sense. So you have
Cow's
milk.
milk for cows.
A cow's milk is for cows. And so our milk is for us. And
Yeah.
we are allergic to that. So it just doesn't even make sense. And if you have trouble making milk, the
Yeah.
alternative doesn't need to be formula from cows. It
Yeah.
could be donor milk from another woman.
So what
And
is
so
that
that's
look like?
also
How do you pursue that? I've seen a
yeah,
Netflix.
there's
show
donor
about-
milk. I mean, there's different banks, like milk banks. And
Okay.
so that's also important because it affects their tummy. It's also, I think, for our community to understand that bottle feeding is directly related to SIDS and obesity.
Okay.
Because if you imagine, especially Black people, we like, you gonna eat everything on your plate. You gonna finish this bottle. We
Oh,
like
yeah.
to be
Yeah.
full, right?
Definitely.
And so you can't force feed a breast. It's not a thing. If a baby's
right.
done, they pop off and they're done
Yeah.
and they're satiated. And there's signs like their hands open and soften. And then they just, you can't force breast milk because they got to get it out. But a bottle you can kind of force, and it's easier to chug a bottle than it is a breast. So, I mean, I can do a whole breastfeeding thing, but
tell more about that part about getting donor milk. So if breastfeeding isn't working out, because it's a lot of hard work, and I know some women do it, some women will just give up on it, some they feel like it's not for
right.
them.
A lot of us just don't have the support. We don't have the support on our jobs.
Yeah.
Right. And I like to bring up that a woman that's high powered in her career as an executive and a woman that's working an hourly job at, say, CVS, both have a very similar problem.
Yeah.
They don't feel safe to advocate for themselves and get what they need. And they both really need their jobs. Right. People in the middle, I feel like, feel a little safer to kind of ask what they need.
Yeah.
But, you know, the Black woman at a table with executives of only white men, with either with grown kids or no kids, like, she's not gonna be like, I have to pump every 2 hours. Like, they
step
don't
away
care.
to go pump, you know.
Right. They don't feel safe enough to ask. I mean, I've had, as an actor, so when I had Samuel, his first year of life, I did 4 plays. And I'm away a lot doing like rehearsal and nighttime shows and the whole thing.
Right.
And I breastfed throughout. But when my first show, he was about 4 months and went through a growth spurt, and I couldn't keep up with the pumping. And so I just told them, he'll be here on my breaks so I can breastfeed. And then on my other breaks, I'll pump. And I had 2 amazingly successful Black female actresses, like, truly, they called me like, what do I do? And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you do? Like, you don't ask, you just tell them, like, I'm going to pump or he's coming to set, and that's it. You don't ask. So there's no asking. You tell, and that's what it is. I don't want any woman ever in their life to not breastfeed their baby or in their breastfeeding journey because they need to go back to work. Full stop. I also don't believe in all of us covering to breastfeed because no one else eats with a sheet over their face, and that's weird as shit. So if you know, like, do you put your sheet over your
agreement?
Like, I remember my mother-in-law was like, I feel like sometimes, you know, she's from Bama Child. She's like, sometimes you take the shirt, you show your breast more than others. I'm like, it depends if I'm pulling my titty out from the bottom or pulling it up from the top. Like, I don't know. All I know is if my baby is hungry, he gonna get fed. And if you got a problem with me feeding my baby, that's your problem and not mine. I'll feed him in the middle of 125th. I'll feed him in the airplane.
Come on now.
About what I'm not doing is pumping or feeding him in nobody's bathroom. Do you eat in the bathroom? The hell? Or, no. So
I think the society's discomfort with breastfeeding comes from society's discomfort with associating our bodies with anything other than sexual nature.
So society's discomfort with everything. Their discomfort with males talking about infertility, their discomfort with breastfeeding in public, their discomfort with Black women advocating.
Like, society is just in general uncomfortable with women's bodies and the way in which we choose to move forward, which is why I think that there is such a stigma around single moms by choice and how we choose. I mean, there's autonomy there.
Yeah.
In a way that is not one, not celebrated, but two, not appreciated.
I appreciate it.
But if I say I don't need this man
Mhm.
to be active present day in order for me to raise a healthy and happy and thriving child, there's that nose that turns up to that.
So let
Now,
me
don't
ask
get
you
me
a question.
wrong,
Let me
I
ask
would
you.
love to have that, but
Yeah,
I'm not going to not be a mother in the physical form because a man didn't, quote unquote, act right.
act right. You're right. And because the thing is, I'm just glad you said that. One, I posted this on Instagram recently. People have kids that are married and the marriage doesn't work out, and then they're a single mom. Some
Hmm.
people have no desire to be married and they have a child in a relationship. It doesn't work out. Now they're a single mom. Unfortunately, sometimes people pass away and now I'm a single mom. According to Kiana's mantra, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna send her this little clip. She loves saying,
Yes.
she loves him. I don't need no man to raise kids. Like, so the thing is, her kids are
Because the
grown.
nieces are amazing
Yeah, they fine.
beings.
She like, look at them, they okay. So,
Yes.
but everything you're saying is very true. And something I read today actually said that more women are opting to go this route, and some feel like I'm gonna have my baby now, and I will worry about the daddy
Mhm.
later. Like it's not.
Because what happens is, it's not to say that that family dynamic ever
It's gone,
changes.
or that is gone. All hope is not lost.
Yes.
You are still a
No.
viable woman to,
Let me tell you
you know,
something. And if your viewers, I'm not on video, but if they can
listeners.
feel my energy,
Yeah, yeah.
like, I know that my story is a little bit different. It's me and the baby carriage. And don't think that shit is less appetizing, less appealing, less desirable, less anything. Again,
It-
unfortunately, Cross is not here. But I will go forth and say I had so many dudes that was like, "You want to do this again? I got you."
yeah,
Like,
you are not
friends,
any less viable.
exes, no, sis.
No,
One of my sisters, she's not with her children's father anymore, and she has two girls, and she's like, she's a nurse. And she's like, a nigga don't stop this show. Like, I
no,
still gets that popping. She is,
never lie.
financially independent. She is a career professional, a homeowner, a boss ass mom. And she was
I need
like,
everyone to understand that these kids do not steal your sexy, honey.
no,
I
They
no,
still,
no,
I
no,
think,
no.
no.
I honestly think we should bring up that the kids still the daddy sexy a lot of time because they
Yeah,
comfortable. They like we together, we got these babies. I'm like, I'm bored.
Not the mama though, stepdaddy central.
baby. When I tell you, you are still a viable source. These men will
Yes.
still be there. Those kids, they
Because
will
the
be
totality of who you are is not like totally dependent upon
yeah.
the child you have or the lot in life that you are, financial. Like, there are men, and again, bounces back to male infertility. There's some men that can't have kids. And
And you
so they will
would know.
lovingly
Yeah.
take care of you and your child and are committed to become family as one. It's it that is not the end of your rainbow. I fully believe that I'm gonna have a child by the end of 2022.
We're gonna speak that into existence.
Speak it into existence. Baby Boo has a tribe of aunties and uncles and just family that is awaiting the arrival. And there are, whether it's a boy or a girl, father figures in the mix that are happily willing to serve up themselves in service of
And
my child.
that's a beautiful thing, because I think what we have to move away from, because this is from way back when, the number one thing I think why people have this issue or this judgment around single mom by choice or having a child out of wedlock is shame that goes way back to the things that Rachel talked about, that has been placed up on us to make us feel like we are less than a woman or less than a person because I have a child on my own. And we as a society have to make a conscious decision to move away from that, because there are a lot of variables and a lot of reasons that just go into these decisions. It's much bigger than just saying, and it's 2022. our grandparents, great grandparents, whoever, they really did need the man. They did financially, if nothing else.
Right, honey.
Options were limited.
Would have made another choice. A lot of women would have made another choice.
Listen,
Let's be real.
listen.
Yeah.
If there was some financial viability, if there were some other employment opportunities, if there was not such a stigma in the community, I know several of them
Yeah.
that would have made other choices. Even our mothers would have made other choices. I really 100% wholeheartedly think that we are of the generation that is really considering peace and sound, like body, mind, and spirit
Above everything.
above everything else. Like YOLO the fuck. Like it's,
But it's
and
just
I may
some
be,
demons, people uncomfortable, is triggering traumas and all that stuff.
yeah.
And so
But you know what? With triggers and traumas, there's also triumphs.
correct.
Yeah.
So I don't think we
You
have
only
to
have
be
your life to
limited.
live for you. You can't relive nobody else's. And what I will share that's personal enough for tonight is that I make my choices for me. And that might trigger my mama's trauma, my dad's trauma, my aunt's trauma, or whatever, or make them uncomfortable because they are like, "Ooh, you free, girl. You more free than I am." I said, "That's fine, but I'm not making choices. If I make a choice that's different than what you chose, I am not shaming you or judging you for what you did. What I'm telling you is what I need to do is be whole for me and my babies."
Yeah.
And so if that is with their daddy or without their daddy or with you or without you or with this friend or without that friend, whatever it looks like, again, it's back to peace. It's back to joy. I founded my nonprofit because I want Black people to disconnect from trauma, heal. Well, let me say this. I'm multitasking as a mama in this podcast. I want us to heal from our pain and our traumas. I want us to reconnect to our joy and abundance. That is our birthright. And so we must do what we need to do for us, and all the answers lie here and there. And so you don't need any validation from anybody else. And as Black women, if we keep it there, we grind. We are strong and resourceful, resilient. So if somebody don't understand what you got going on, who gives a fuck?
And also, let's be clear in saying that joy in itself, its totality and existence, is by itself an act of resistance.
Yep. Absolutely.
That you can have joy and that you can feel the abundance of the love around you, whether it is the man that you have procreated with, somebody who you just, dealing with, or whatever. I 100% can say when I lost Cross, his father was not missed because I needed him. He was missed because that was my child's father and he fell short. But I had every resource that I needed in terms of my family, in terms of my friends, in terms, which I don't even call them my friends, they're my sisters, and community and tribe. And I think that women, I would love for us to not be afraid. I'm going to bring this up because it came up not long ago. Vivica Fox did an interview that said that she did not become a mother because she didn't feel like she could do it on her own because she didn't have the man. God forbid you walk through life and feel like you can't do A because of B.
Yeah.
I don't, and I feel,
There's so many successful Black women. Think about that. And women, period, right? When you have success. And I just recently got a taste of a cuter coin. And
come on, cute coin.
It's a cuter coin. It was a skinny, hungry coin not that long ago. But it's a double standard. It really is. It's this fine thing where you're like, I could do it all or I could afford it all, but you're not supposed to do it all. It's very scary. It's a whole 10 of the podcast. I don't know, child.
Girl, invite us back.
Yes, because we definitely have to, all these conversations we have to revisit, because what you said about Vivica, I think I watched a clip of that, but I didn't watch the whole thing. But I would say with myself right now, being 37 and not having kids, that was something for a long time. I feel like, no, Shayna, especially once I reached like a certain age and a certain status in life, you're like, you're doing well, you've gone this long, quote unquote, and you didn't get pregnant, because of what society is putting in mind. And then it was like, I got to the space of, well, you have to be married before you have a kid. And then you just wake up one day and realize like all that
Fuck that shit.
yeah, it's outdated information. Like I don't
Yeah. I mean, and that's like my tipsy saying it, like, fuck that shit. Because I never want to look back and be like, because I feel like, at 36, going to turn 37, I've lived a zillion lives
yeah.
on a couple different, continents. That the one thing that is missing for me, because I'm one of those people that feel like, things that happen are supposed to happen, and the
Yeah.
loves that you have will be forever, and that you are not, relegated to one person for the rest of your life. And, I get real deep and shit. But I know the one thing that will sustain me and the one thing that will ever be like present as the most important thing to me is who I was with my child.
Hmm.
Like my sharing of DNA with him, my loving and singing and quiet time with just him. You know, I I think that pregnancy after loss is equally as difficult
Yeah.
because there is anxiety, there is a lot of things that come into play, and your mind just does certain things. I mean, I did some earlier this week that we'll see what happens in 2 weeks,
Mm.
but um it doesn't change your loss. It doesn't change what your child meant to you. It doesn't mean that you won't feel any pain after your new baby comes.
Yeah.
Um, but I know all of these escapades that you have, they fun. They're a lot of fun, but nothing tops that sound of that heartbeat. Nothing tops the feeling of the butterfly flutters. Nothing tops, like, that is your chief priority in life,
Yeah.
is to be his protector or her guide or just their compass. And so with or without a man, like, yo, this is lit.
Yeah.
Like, I have full dreams of like, get your ladybug suitcase. I'm not gonna stop traveling. We moving this unit together, and we're gonna get these passports and we're gonna get it popping.
Yeah.
And if a man comes to compliment that, I would love that.
Yeah.
But if a man does not, I'm teaching him or her all the things that they need to be great human beings and to be loving and caring and kind. And whether your dad is found through Just the Baby app,
Yeah.
or it's found through the known donor because he was my ex 10 years ago and he wants that old thing back,
Yeah.
or if he was whatever, that we come to that place where there's love.
Yeah.
Mommy will figure out the logistics. Like, I'll get that going. Don't worry about that. But you will have everything that you need to be successful. And I really feel like if generations were different, our parents and our grandparents might have chosen the same path. But for whatever reason, I think that the time is now. And like Huey P. Newton says, like, the young always inherit the revolution.
Oakland, baby.
And come on, honey. Yes. So I think that like the time is now for us to just take ownership. And it's not to say we don't want partners, but I'm not going to lack because I don't have one.
Right. As you should.
And, I think that I have had people that have said, well, girl, you oops before. Why don't you oops again? And I'm like, mm, that may be your path. That's not mine. I did oops before, and a great and amazing, abundant gift came from that. But I really want to be intentional. Intentionality means a lot to me right now. And so maybe it's not oops. Maybe it is, I'm going to craft my own journey and walk my own way and bring all of the fullness of the love and the light that I desire for my child to come into this world with, um, for that path to already be laid.
Yeah.
And then, if I oops along the way, it's fun.
Then you just oops.
Yeah, ifs.
And ain't no
But
oops.
yeah,
And
and ain't nothing wrong with that. Like I am not a person that views kids as mistakes or as accidents, as whatever. However we come to this journey, this is the journey that we're supposed to be on.
Yeah.
amen. That's it. We all
Yeah.
growing. I say when I teach fitness, and I really believe it on and off the mat, as I say that I don't believe in failures. Every challenge is an opportunity for growth. And that's just
Mhm.
it. Whether you lifting a heavier weight or going through a breakup or a miscarriage or fertility trauma, or you had a perfect husband, pregnancy, birth, and baby, that baby and parenting are going to bring challenges. I
Yeah.
literally, there was a beautiful Black mom and her son on the train today, and he was acting up. He was about
Mhm.
10 and wasn't listening. And she's like, I'm gonna take your phone and I want to pop you. And he was like, I'm gonna call CPS. I was talking about that.
I
I
wish.
said, hold on a second. I sat down and I looked at him dead in his face and I said, what you're not gonna do is disrespect your mama.
Yeah.
Okay. I said, and every Black mom
Is it like today?
today, what do he knows? What do I tell you? You get in trouble. Why?
You know.
No, say it loud. Because what?
I want to be the best as I can.
I
I
know.
love
I
it.
love it with his crown on.
Yes.
Yeah. So he knows that when he gets in trouble, you don't get popped that much. But if you have to do timeout or whatever, it's because mommy wants you to be your.
Best as I can.
Yes. I love that.
Yes. We need
And
more.
so those are the things that we see and that we need in Black womanhood and Black motherhood, because you are still instilling things in him that will long survive you.
Yeah.
Right. And I told that little boy, because he was old enough to receive it. I said, your mom, it's not only that she wants you to be your best, she's trying to protect you.
Yeah.
Because this world ain't. Okay. And so
Mm.
sometimes when she gets angry, she's scared.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scared for you and
She's scared
scared
for
because
you.
she's not sure what to do
Let me
to
tell you,
protect you.
I couldn't sleep my entire third trimester because I'm like, I'm bringing a whole nother Black boy into this world.
Mhm.
In the summer of 2020, they were hunting Black men.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yes.
like, how am I going to do this?
Yeah.
A
So
real fear.
it was real. And they were like, oh, it's just because you're pregnant. I was like, no, girl, I've been pregnant before. I have been going to sleep for 37 years and have never had a problem because she busy as all hell. So once I hit the pillow, it's lights out. I'm like, I can't go to sleep because I am traumatized by racism. That is my
Yep.
problem.
The fear.
It's fear, and that's real. You know what I mean? So, anyways, clearly we could talk till the cows come home and the sun shine and this
I
supposed
know.
pass.
I
But
want to say
thank
a couple of things very
Yes, I was just gonna
specifically.
say, yeah, I want you all to close with what your
So you know
thought.
what this beverage is?
Go ahead.
How do I think that being a single mother by choice affects the child? I want to be very clear in saying that I want to choose conscious parenting.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, I want to be very honest with my child that there was a very deliberate choice. Because there are people who are even married and have oops babies.
Yeah.
I want to be very clear with my child that mommy went through the storm to grab for the sun, moon, and the stars to have you.
Yes.
And so it doesn't mean that you are the only thing that's good in my life, but you are the best thing that's good in my life.
I love it.
And there is someone out there that helped to make you,
Yeah.
that made a decision to love me and care enough about you to help us along our journey. And that I would like for you to have access to them, to meet them, to ask them questions, to love on them.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of that for me is dependent upon what decision I choose to make,
Yeah.
whether I choose to go with a known donor or with an unknown donor. With an unknown donor, I'm only accepting donors from the sperm bank who are open to open ID.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
What's that mean? Open ID.
that at the age of 18 that they will have the opportunity to meet,
Okay.
and from that point further that the biological donor and the child will be able to continue on that relationship based on their personal decisions as adults.
Gotcha.
Um, I do feel like sperm bank donations at this point for me felt very isolating. So I am stepping away from the sperm donor world. If I choose to do a known donor who I have developed a relationship with through an app or another third party or an ex or a friend, that's probably something that's a little bit more aligned with what my goals are.
Mhm.
um, how do you protect your peace in this process is that there is no guilt, there is no shame, there is no second guessing, there is no how to, like, almost for me, because I met a donor on the app and dude is cool and I feel like I might mess around and like the nigga, so I kind of, backed up from him
Yeah.
because I don't want to muddy the waters with what
Yeah.
this needs to be. And so at the forefront of my mind, my heart, and my desire is like whatever is best for the child. I don't want any awkward situations or acquaintances. For me, I know that outside noise is just that.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily looking for any approval or, oddly enough, my family's like, this shit's so interesting. Like, ooh,
Sound like me.
but there are people like my one cousin that was like, well, just oops again, and that's great if that happens to fall into your lap, but I have no shame. I think transparency breaks down walls. I
Yeah.
think that there are women who need to hear these stories. I think that there are women like Vivica Fox who have chose to move to the point to where there was shame or discomfort or misunderstanding, and that they have now passed their childbearing years.
Yeah.
Like, we are more than conquerors. We can do all things ourselves. That doesn't necessarily mean that there is not a partner that is going to come. I'm going to have my child. God is going to bless me with another child. And
Right.
I feel like there may be a man that comes into my life that is going to love me and my child enough to change the trajectory of our lives. But I'm not going to wait for him to come before I start to do things for myself and for my child in mind.
And I love that because it's encouraging, I think, to me, and I know listeners in the demographic who typically tune in because it's still a very scary thought for me, not being married and just now moving away from the notion. Because just to be, and me being transparent, I grew up with one of my sisters was a teen mom. And that, for whatever reason, like scared me when I was younger to see someone be like 15 and pregnant and to have people, growing up in small town USA. I remember people asking me, like, is your sister pregnant? And at the time, at first, I didn't know. So I'm answering, like, no. And then eventually, I saw her stomach and I realized it. And I really believe that traumatized me really early. Like, I don't want to be in that situation, even though she had the support of like my grandmother and stuff. She was still able to go to college. She still lived a somewhat normal life. But because of that trauma that I dealt with very early, it got me to the point where like I never want to be in that situation. And even though I've gone through life and I've been, what I would consider successful in my career and personal endeavors, it wasn't until I would say probably a year ago that I got to a space of recognizing that, like, if I want to have a child, that it is okay if I do it and I'm not married. Like, I can do it on my own terms, and the only the shame that's attached to it, it's up to me to remove that. Because I still can't care what anybody says. I can't care what social media thinks. I can't think what certain family members may think that project their own wants onto you. Because people that are never married before, they'll say, "Well, when you gonna get married? When you gonna have a baby?" Because they've never done it. So I think it's very courageous, and I appreciate the transparency from both of you because I know that there are listeners out there who sit in these seats and think about things like this that one didn't know they were an option, but two, now that they do know they're an option and it may be a viable option for them, it's good for them to know that it is okay if this is what you want to do.
And I think because I know too, there's this thing of the pressure for us to be successful because so many of us as Black women are traversing this life
Yeah.
solo. And we do like nice things, and that doesn't make us a damn gold digger or any of this other BS. We have a right to go on vacation. We have a right to like nice things and have financial independence and all of these things. And so, and as a result, I think we put this pressure on ourselves to arrive at a certain number or certain level of success before becoming a mom.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
we need to remove that from ourselves because if you then discover you do have fertility issues, now here's the deal. Like Beyonce had, as Jay said, natural twins later in life. And that's a thing.
But she
Multiple.
also had a
She
miscarriage.
also had a miscarriage, which
Yeah.
that's what she told us because Jay out here in these streets stressing her the fuck out. So
Right.
that also is true. Okay. Which they shared. So all of the above, right? I say life is E, all of the above on a Scantron. But it's
Not a
important.
scantron.
Not
A
a Scantron.
scantron.
Y'all know you. I just be like, I'm gonna hit
You
you
went way back.
All else fails, bitch. Right seed.
with. I go for E. I'm like, I want E. I need all the options. So my thing is, you got to be careful because you're like, I'm waiting, I'm waiting. You waiting for the right time, the right man, the right paycheck, the right bank account. There's no one right. Well, you got 80 bags in that.
But I'm gonna tell you something. There is no one way to do this shit right. One of our girlfriends, Danielle, said, "Kirsten, I fully support whatever you choose to do for as long as that works for you because you could be married, have the plan, perfect baby shower,
Yeah.
4.3,
Tell us, girl, please share. There's also that. It's okay.
yeah,
You
you
thought
can,
you had it all and the shit ain't
yes,
working.
you
Break
could
it and
do
be
all the
okay.
things that you think are being done right with 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, garage, backyard, and that nigga could still leave and you still left holding the bag. So, like, there's no one way to come to motherhood.
Not at all.
There's a way that we dream that to be, but there's no way that you would know, I'm gonna shake this ball and see what the crystals hold. Like, for me, it is about peace and prosperity. And I honestly do believe that my son, even though he is not earthbound, he prepared his mama for something beautiful.
Yeah.
I think that he made me strong and taught me to be free in a different way that I didn't even know was possible.
Yeah.
You know, my motto for this year and going forward is that ease is my birthright.
Yeah.
And I deserve all of the good things because I know what I sow into others and I know what I sow into myself, and that we do lean into um, those that we love that have ascended to
Yeah.
give us protection and to give us guidance and to help us along the way as we journey. And that your intuition is real. You
Real.
don't need 50 million people to give you the yeah, yeah, yes. When you know it and you feel it and it's very intentional and a part of who you are as your being,
Mm-hmm.
there's something very spiritual there. And that's very intentional, like with your, like Rachel as a doula, with your breath work and with your honor to the ancestors and to God and the universe and the way that we come to know ourselves. And I may be a little too deep about it, but like I really do believe I rejected when other people said that nothing just happened. I didn't want to hear other people say that. I thought it was bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was insensitive and it was tone deaf.
Mm-hmm.
But I've come to know myself that the journey is mine and that what I desire for myself and the promises that God has made to me in my intimate time, I know that those will come to pass.
Absolutely. So, how do you feel about that statement now if someone was to say it to you?
I still don't appreciate it because they don't know the journey.
Yeah.
Um, it's hard because nothing changes what you lost.
Yeah.
Um, but there are things that I know to be true, that God has promised me something. Because here's the thing, when people tell you God makes no mistakes, and then you feel like God made a mistake, it
Yeah.
changes your relationship with
Yeah.
how you view God
Yeah.
and what you expect of Him. And if God killed my baby, then what does that say about who He is?
Mm.
So I need to lean into the fact that God is helping me along the way, but this wasn't due to Him.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that were the case, then me and God got beef.
Yeah.
Right. You know what? My girlfriend actually, who when I finally shared my miscarriage with her and the friend that's having a baby by herself, by choice, she said, yes, sometimes, because I was like, what's the lesson? What's the learning? And she said, you know what? Sometimes life just sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just really nice to hear that.
Yes. That is not tied to a reason.
Right. She said, sometimes it just sucks. There ain't no reason, ain't no learning. It just sucks. And it hurts and it's frustrating. You know what I mean? And I have to say my midwife, immediately I blamed myself, and I had traveled, and I make you comfortable. Okay. I blamed myself, and she was quick to say, there's nothing you've done wrong. And so I also want to leave our queens with that statement. There's nothing broken about you. And a lot of times society and life will make you feel that way. And it's just not the case. And if there is family or friends that are making you feel broken, then they're not your family, they're not your friends.
Yeah.
And it's okay to release people that are not serving you. And I love everyone, but my number one job is mommy, and I have to go put this boy to bed because it is late.
And that's a perfect close.
And he said it's not working.
Not working.
We're going to definitely continue this conversation. I just want to say, I want to give y'all a round of applause for an amazing conversation tonight around so many things. Listeners, this is definitely going to be continued. I would let you all know where you could find these awesome ladies. I thank you both, Kirsten and Rachel. And on that note, we'll be right back with the Montana Minute. And now this brings us to the Montana Minute. So, you might have noticed that this episode was a little different in a sense of some of the behind the scenes interactions and other voices you heard on the podcast. I wanted to allow that because of the organic nature of what was happening. And since this episode is about being a mom, why not let the kiddos stay in the audio? So, I truly enjoyed it, and I hope you did as well. The next thing and the last thing, I hope you enjoyed this series on Black maternal health in America, and that these conversations have ignited a fire in you to help do your part to end this epidemic and break generational curses to come. That said, be sure you give us some feedback with a review or a rating, and I am now signing off. Yours truly, Shanna Montana, and I'll see you right back here next week.